Yeah, Coach, if you want to give us kind of an opening statement, kind of like how the spring's gone, the summer, and then obviously a bit of USA stuff going in there as well, and then overall today.
Yeah, I think first off, we had an amazing spring. I think we got immensely, we just improved at a really rapid rate. And I don't think I noticed it at first. And then we got to the last quarter maybe of the spring, and I was like, man, like we're putting some things together. We could be pretty good next year. And then I got back from Croatia from World Championships, and I got it on day 4 of practice, and I was just blown away at how much better the girls continued to get throughout the summer. And it's like having a kid that you haven't seen in a while, and all of a sudden you come back and they've grown quite a bit. And you're like, man, I was just impressed with the work that they put in during that time that led them to this point. And I thought tonight, the first set, we talked in the locker room just about it's normal to have some nerves the first time you put a uniform on, whether it be you're a freshman, it's the first time you've ever done it, or you're a senior, and maybe it's one of your last times doing it. So I thought the first set we had some nerves, and I thought we really settled in. And I thought across the board, 14 players deep, we were playing really, really good volleyball down the stretch. So super, super excited to see what happens when we put this against an opponent. And we get to see that on Saturday, and obviously as we get further into the fall.
We'll open it up to questions.
Can you speak a little bit about like the leadership on the team from some of the returning players, or even some new ones if you're seeing that?
Yeah. Lauren Hogan's our team captain. I've been a part of some really high-level teams, and I think she's one of the best I've ever had. Just the amount of trust that's there between her and I, and her willingness to put the team first, even above herself. So I think that's number one. I got to point to that. And I think the players, even in terms of the improvement that was made throughout the summer, I think they attribute it to her quite a bit, and the structure that she put around them getting better. So I got to say that first and foremost. And then part of the reason I'm here is I looked at the core of this team that was here, and there was a lot of talent, and there was a lot of good human beings. And I think they're proving that right every single day that we're here.
Coach, for A&M fans who are kind of getting back in the swing of things, for Logan, and just what have you seen where she's at physically, from obviously how she ended last year,
yeah,
kind of where she seems like she's right back where she was.
Yeah, I think one of the things I try to put forward first and foremost is that I care about our athletes' long-term future. And that's been the number one thing that we've been trying to do, is get her healthy enough. And I'd be more happy, I think that's a word, to see her, I don't know, on a podium at an Olympics than necessarily us winning the SEC championship next year. And if we can do both, that's awesome too. But I'm really concerned about kind of making sure that she has a long career if that's what she decides to do. So we've been pretty cautious, but really, really optimistic about what's going on and moving forward. I think I literally was sitting next to her on the bench being like, I don't know if either of us thought we'd be here at this point right now that you're playing like this. And I think the other cool thing is for her and Lauren, they were out, but we had to find ways that they could get better at something. And I thought there's 3 or 4 things that they got immensely better at that they focused on while maybe they couldn't practice full. And I think it's just a testament to anybody that gets hurt that just because you're hurt doesn't mean you can't improve. And I think they did a really good job of that throughout the entire spring.
You guys begin the season on the road for a couple weeks before you come back at the end of the month. Just how can, with the team with a new coach, but how can they kind of build on, starting on the road?
Yeah. I think we're going to have to learn to play on the road in order to win in the fall also. So I think that's a piece of it. Also for me, I wanted to make sure we got as many students back here as possible before we did come home. So I think we're playing some probably not traditional powers that I think are on the road. And for me, it's less of on the road and more of just quality opponents. We're not like traditional powers, but teams that have 20, 25 wins every single season. And there's a strategic reason for that, but also just they're going to push us. And I think push us in some different ways depending on what team we're playing. So the biggest thing I'm really looking forward to is I think we're good. And the cool thing about sport is you get to find out for real. It's not a business or anything like that where you're like, I think we're good at this. And there's really no key performance indicators. Like there's wins and losses here. So I think that's going to be the true test of just seeing how good we are as we get on the road.
And then did anything surprise you tonight, and what do you want to see kind of cleaned up?
Surprise? No, I just think the level that we were able to serve pass, I think it's something we've been working on a lot. I was really, really fired up on that. I thought our offense was clicking after the first set. So I was really fired up on that. I think there's some defensive stuff that we need to clean up, and just some notes that I took on that. And I'm trying to think what other notes that I took. The small little almost housekeeping things. Like there's no big project that I'm like, ooh, we really need to work on this. But just small little things that I think can get us 1% better as we get into practice.
Sam mentioned it, but obviously, congratulations first off. But what was the experience like at the World Championships?
Yeah, I was just talking about it. I got to work alongside Coach Karai for a long time, and he was one of the best players in the world for 20 years. And every tournament he ever went to, he was probably the favorite, especially when he was on the beach. And I was just asking him how he dealt with that at one point. And he's like, I try not to go in with any expectations just because it robs the joy from it when I win. And we had a bunch of 16-year-olds. I think our average age was 16.9 or something like that, 17.1 years old. And we're playing against a bunch of 18 and 19-year-olds in that tournament. And I really had no expectations. It was, hey, like this isn't the group that we trained necessarily last summer. We're starting over from fresh. These girls have played limited international volleyball, and if they have, it's only against people in our zone. And I vividly remember. I don't remember necessarily the last 3 points of the match, but I vividly remember standing there like with my clipboard over my head, just smiling, just being like, "What did we just do?" And it was one of the coolest, most joyous victories I think I've had, and one of the gold medals I think I'll cherish the most. So it was a really, really cool experience. I could just give a bunch of thanks, and I have said this to everybody at Texas A&M. I let our team vote if I should go, so I thank them also. But just for a really cool experience, it was an awesome thing.
And what have these last couple of weeks been like balancing? Obviously going through that, and then they're starting to practice back here, and kind of stay in touch.
Add in having a 1.5-year-old that you're away from, and it was a perfect disaster. No, it wasn't a disaster. It was difficult, but I hired an amazing staff that really handled the load, and I pulled them aside today and said the same thing, just of enough trust there that I could leave in year one and know that fires we put out, that our team would be well taken care of, that training would go well. And I think also the way that I teach is a little bit different. It's a lot of video that happens. So it was actually a little bit of a benefit that I got a rep of it with USA, and we just ran the same practice and taught in the same way. So I thought that was a really cool thing, but I'll just go back again to my staff was amazing. It wasn't that difficult just because of how amazing they are.
Coming off of your win, what skills, do you really want to focus on as you come back to A&M?
It's a great question. I think if you go back to the USA group, I think our ability to serve pass was most paramount. And I think if you talk to any coach, that battle is going to be really, really important. And I think the other thing that I really emphasized there is I'm big on, competitiveness. I'm big on our team getting after somebody else, of the battle of out of system. Of, hey, when we knock an opponent off the net, can we block and defend better than anybody else out there in the world? And then vice versa, when we get knocked off the net, can we find ways to cause trouble and get kills? So I think it's one of the areas we'll be focusing on a little bit more maybe than we did in the spring as we go forward here in the fall.
Why would you encourage community members to come out, and what can they expect to see from your players?
One of the reasons why I took this job was because of the community. Because of the tradition of the 12th man. And I think we can fill up these stands. And Nebraska is filling up their football stadium this year with 87,000 people for a volleyball match. And I don't think there's a lot of places that can happen. And I think one of them's here. So my goal is to create, an exciting environment. And I think that includes a really exciting brand of volleyball. So I think from a recruiting standpoint, even we're looking for athletes that jump high, hit hard, that play the brand of volleyball that I think will draw people in. And I think those things will feed each other, that will get better. And I mean, this group right now is going to be good. So I think just an exciting brand of volleyball, an exciting atmosphere. I was pretty calm today. I get pretty excited also. So I just encourage people to come out and see what's going on, because I think we're building something really special.
Coming in December, how have you seen the team grow, and how do you hope to see some of the girls transition into the season?
I think as volleyball players, they've grown quite a bit. I think there's the individual skills to go along with that. I think team systems, there's still a couple things we need to iron out there going into those small things. But I think they're starting to understand how to play the game. I think the group's getting closer. And understanding that, being a team isn't something that happens by accident. It's something you have to put work into. So I think that's slowly growing more and more every single day as we're in here. So I think those are the areas. And I think just our job as college coaches is somewhat volleyball and it's somewhat X's and O's, but we're taking people from the time that they're 18 to they're 22 and building adults and building well-functioning human beings that can go off into society and do something great. So I think I see that happening as well, just that people are maturing, people that were freshmen last year, people that are getting to the end of their college career. I feel more confident that they're going to be able to go out and rule the world in whatever it is they do.
Okay. Everybody good? Perfect.
Cool.
Awesome.
Thank you guys for being here and caring. I appreciate it.